Hey there. I hope you are doing well this morning. It is, oh goodness, almost the end of January. Ooh, better pay rent. Um, so I was kind of excited because I actually got a comment on my last video from yesterday, which was really, really uplifting. I know that, all of this really should not be about praise, and it's really not. It was just nice to get some feedback. So thank you so much. I don't remember the name of the person, but thank you for your comment. It did not go unnoted, and I'm still kind of curious to know kind of the formatting that works well for people, in comparison with my communication style and all that. So please continue to give feedback if you feel like it. So the last 24 hours have been interesting, challenging, good in many ways. I just definitely, well, I'll never forget there was a guy I knew when I was in one recovery program, and he would say to me something like, well, my mind's always trying to find something to complain about. And I could so relate to him because I feel like I could be worried about something all the time. I usually am. I could list like 10 things now, I'm sure, but I won't. So a couple of things happened yesterday that were really helpful to me, and one of the things that I think about with this vlog is, like, do I talk only about the food and recovery, or do I talk about life in general? And I mean, this really is about the beauty messy life that I live, and the life that we all live that's beautiful and messy and crazy. So a lot of times I may frame things around the fact that even though they're not food related, when I'm living a more sane life in other areas, I find that my eating disorder just doesn't become as much of an issue or a temptation. So, like, relationships are a big area where I am constantly wanting to grow and improve. As I grow closer to people, I am just less close and attached to the eating disorder and food as a means of coping. And with that, though, what's been interesting is there's this woman who I know from when I used to practice Aikido, actually, and she's nice enough. I'm going to be brutally honest because that's what I do. I don't totally love her. I don't get excited when I'm around her. She's kind of negative. She's extremely critical of herself, and therefore very defensive and critical of other people. And I say extremely, I'm really sensitive, but she's just subtly always kind of, I don't know, explaining things, why she does things, and then she's also really quick to kind of excuse me for things, even though I haven't asked for, permission or forgiveness. We were at church yesterday, and I was like bawling my eyes out, and she wasn't crying at all, and I was like, here I was crying, and you weren't. She was like, well, some of us just know how to hide our feelings better. And I looked at her, and I was like, I have no desire to hide my feelings. But it was nice because part of me felt a little combative, but then I was like, okay, whatever. Anyway, so I bring all of this up because she called me a few days ago and wanted me to help her apartment hunt. And she had only told one other person that she was planning on doing this because it involves, the end of a relationship and things like that. And frankly, we're not that close. And I was really flattered on the one hand that she would want me to be a part of it and that she trusted me. And on the other hand, I was like, I do not want to go hang out with this woman. And I know that sounds terrible, but like, that's real. That's true. I just was like, she kind of sucks the life out of me. Like, I don't feel good when I'm around her, blah, blah, blah. But I made the commitment because it's what I do, especially as long as someone's not actually hurting me. And I set boundaries around how much of a commitment I would make. So instead of like saying I'd spend the whole afternoon, I said, I could spend an hour after church. And so it felt like a good compromise. And so I did this thing. It just kind of came to me like it usually does, thank God. I was sitting in her truck. Well, as I was driving to her car to meet up with her, I prayed for God to remove any sort of negativity and just to flood her life and her car and this experience and this day with the light and love and presence of the Holy Spirit. Again, I'm sorry if this makes people uncomfortable, but again, it's what I did. And we were driving around, and I really wanted to check my phone. I'd been texting this guy and was all preoccupied with that. And I just kept thinking to myself, love is presence. Like, just be present with her. And so I was. And so she shared a little bit. I shared a little bit. I learned a little bit about guns. She just got herself a handgun. I mean, we're quite different. But at the end of it, my heart was softer. I was so much more open. And that probably was the highlight of my day, which I never would have expected. And so much of it was about being willing to give her the time and space to be herself, and then to relate to her as though she was doing that for me, and it just was really very powerful for me, and definitely made me feel like the day had a lot more purpose than if I had just done my to-do list and, said, I hope it goes well for you. So I really just wanted to kind of share that like attitude and posture of relationship, there were times when I wanted to I would have in the past challenged her about certain things, or, been like, well, it's going to get better, or just, really kind of pushed her to, well, what are you doing about your personal growth? Are you thinking about that yet? Like, just really kind of like, And I realized that's not my job. My job's just to be here with her. And, so yeah, it was a really nice time. So I really wanted to share that because that was really beneficial. And the other thing that I wanted to share is that I know I've mentioned that I've gotten on Tinder and, explored this whole dating thing. And it got really weird really fast with this guy that, my heart was kind of a little heavy and like tense around him, or, thinking about him and when I was in communication with him. But I also wanted to be open to possibility and all of that. But he just like straight up disappeared after I got honest with him about how it's awkward communicating with multiple people because I feel sort of stretched and unfaithful, even though, I guess this is normal for most people, but it's not for me. And so all throughout the day, like I sent him something earlier in the morning just to kind of say hello, I hope you have a great day. I didn't hear from him. Didn't hear from him. And like, this is someone who texted really frequently and regularly for several days. And I was like, what do I write? Like the old me would have said, well, I can see that you're clearly not interested, and so I just wanted to take a minute and wish you well. Like, I would probably want to manipulatively insinuate that he missed out on something that was really great and that I was, I really cared, and it's too bad it didn't work out, but saying it in some way that wasn't that, but was. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, here's the thing. I don't actually want to hang out with this person now because, like, I can see clearly we're in different places. I've had some clarity and some space. And so I didn't want to insinuate that he should want to be with me. But I did want to let him know that I cared about him as a person because I think he does have some stuff that's going on. And so I didn't do another thing that I typically would do, which is explain all of this. Like, so I think that maybe this is what's happening, so I'm going to say this. It was wonderful. I just picked up my phone and I said, hey, it's really not normal for me to not hear from you. Are you okay? And I haven't heard back, and I probably won't. But now I know that, like, I have communicated what I needed to for my peace of mind, and I'm comfortable now, like, if he does get in touch, to just say, like, I really wish you well, And thank God I've had that little bit of space because I'm still learning how to set those boundaries, and I did actually meet someone else or re-meet someone through that little time on Tinder, and we're developing kind of a friendship and slight flirtation, and it's fun, and it's a lot more casual and laid back, so much more. So those are the couple of things that are coming up for me. In terms of food, I definitely, I had planned a snack in between my 3 meals, and I just have to stay really honest with myself about where my head and heart are when I do eat, because it's still difficult sometimes for me to tell if I'm hungry or if I'm just like emotionally charged and needing that release. And so I'm not totally sure, but I may play around with having a little bit more like fat and protein during my 3 meals and cut out the snack just for a couple of days and see how that goes. I'm really happy though because I haven't binged in several days now, so I don't want to mess with the plan too much. I really have to take things slowly, but at the same time, I growth and progress are important to me. Okay, so for the paragraph from EDA, it's a shorter one. Perhaps you want to quit doing things you know are problematic, but think your case is not as hopeless as some of ours. We hope you are right. If you are not sure whether your condition is serious enough to merit a dive into the 12 steps of EDA, we urge you to read the next chapter, more about eating disorders. Yeah, I'll stop there because it's getting late. So I think that's actually a helpful thing to keep in mind, because even I sometimes am like, well, I'm not that bad. And I know I've come a long way. And I also know that accountability and honesty are so vital in general, to stay connected with myself, to stay connected with God, and therefore be able to connect with other people and stay present as much as possible in the moment. And so, really, if there are things, when there were things that I thought were problematic and I wasn't sure if they were that bad, I honestly just had to keep doing them until I saw really clearly that they were problematic, or until I was willing to let God come in and kind of revamp my perspective, so that I was willing again to be vulnerable and admit, like, ooh, maybe I can't do this on my own, or maybe this is harder and more than I can handle. Because God is amazing and He can handle all of it. All right, well, that is it for today. I wish you a wonderful day. I send you all the love and light, which is so hippie, oh my gosh, but I do. And please feel free to comment or email me at beautymessylife.com, or excuse me, beautymessylife@gmail.com. Otherwise, I will look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.